2 weeks. 2 long, sweaty weeks I've been stranded here, learning how to survive in this dry and desolate land. More than ever before, I've had to keep my eyes open because here death lurks in every corner. Not just from fang or claw or beak, but also from never-ending thirst or heatstroke-induced exhaustion. But I've managed. I've learned how to create specialized clothing and gear designed specifically to deal with the harsh conditions in this godforsaken place. And I've tamed some wondrous new animal companions, like my mounts here, Pecos Pete and Little Joe, and my closest new companion, Festus, who prefers to spend his time perched on my shoulder, sharing the shade. But even with their help, survival hasn't been easy, and I've lost more than a few companions along the way. The latest being the brave little jerboa, Sarah Connor. I named her that because the only thing she seemed to be able to communicate, if I understood her primitive language correctly, was, "There's a storm coming." Well, it seemed appropriate at the time. However, unlike her namesake, she didn't prove to be much good in a fight. Still, waste not, want not. That's the way of the desert, and I'm sure Sarah would have approved. The truth is, learning to live in this sun-baked land has been quite exhilarating. Once I arrived, I found that the obelisks here had become very unstable, dangerously so. So once I had equipped myself well enough to survive, I spent my time getting the lay of the land and traveling to each of the 3 obelisks here to try and figure out a way to fix them so that I might travel home safely and hopefully fix the issue of creatures being spontaneously teleported to my ARK while I'm at it. While I've not explored more than a fraction of this ARK, I do believe I've figured out how to fix the obelisks. In fact, we're on our way to make the necessary adjustments to the last one right now. Unfortunately, this fix involves fusing together what I assume are rather delicate components, but I'm confident that my fix will be effective. Of course, any journey across the desert is hazardous. Attacks from desert wolves or roaming packs of terror birds are commonplace. Fortunately for me, thorny dragons like Pecos Pete here appear to be at or near the top of the local food chain, and my keen hunter's instincts have detected no sign of anything larger in the area, although I have occasionally seen some oddly shaped specks flying high in the distance. But I'm sure it's nothing to worry about. Did you hear something? Probably just a wild jerboa, scavenging for food. Nothing to worry about. Our last stop is tantalizingly close now, and I'm trying to push on through, but 2 things are working against me. The first being heatstroke. I can feel its disorienting effect starting to take its toll on me. And secondly, Pecos Pete and Little Joe need some rest, as we've been hard-pressed by predators for the last several hours. I have no choice. Despite my own weakened condition, I need to dismount and forge ahead on foot to give them a chance to recover. If I don't, I have little chance of reaching the last obelisk alone and on foot. I'm stopping because I've noticed a desert saber-tooth up ahead, and we're not going to be able to get past it unchallenged. I'll have to deal with this one myself. I'm really glad I took the time to forge this pistol. Kinda makes me feel like spaghetti western era Clint Eastwood. I only wish there was a source of fresh water between here and the obelisk. I can actually harvest drinkable water from the fatty humps on Little Joe's back, but it's not very palatable. It's like drinking desalinated sweat mixed with bacon grease. Still, it's better than nothing. We haven't traveled far before I begin to hear the sound of something disturbingly large moving through the brush up ahead of us, somewhere just beyond this unusual rock formation. I signal Pecos and Little Joe to stay under cover and creep forward to investigate. After all, we don't want to get bushwhacked this close to our destination. After a couple of moments surveying the terrain ahead, I discover something unbelievable. I've actually made a mistake. Larger predators do exist here. A T-Rex, to be precise. It looks to be a large adult male. I'm going to blame my oversight on heat stroke because it's plausible. And I'm going to take a moment to confirm my observations. It'll make a difference in how I handle this situation. Yeah, it's a male, all right. And that's good, because that means we may just have a chance of getting out of this alive. You see, Pecos and Little Joe would stand no chance against it in a stand-up fight. And all I have is this little .45 at my side. But if I play my cards right, it might just be enough. I'll put a few shots into its flank to see if I can drive it off. But if that doesn't work, I'll only have one real chance to take this brute down with the firepower I have at my disposal. It'll take expert marksmanship to hit the only one true vulnerable spot a male T-Rex has. Right in the tallywhacker. Job done. Sorry, big guy, but it was either you or me. I'm kind of proud of my shooting, though. T-Rexes aren't exactly known for being well endowed, if you know what I mean. The coast is clear. It's time to move out. Come on, fellas. We're burning daylight. Well, it was close, but we made it. Our destination is just ahead, the green obelisk. I set up a small base camp here when I first scouted out its location, so water and shelter will be there waiting for us when we arrive. We'll have to be careful, though, as all water sources in this place attract plenty of predators. It occurs to me, I'm about to leave and I still haven't come up with a fitting name for this ark. What do you think about calling it Scorch? You know, after the Ralph Bakshi classic movie Wizards. I like the sound of it, but, well, that place was full of magic and mutants, so maybe that's not quite right. How about Vulcan? No, that's a bad idea. Paramount would sue me in a heartbeat. I've got it. I'll call it Arrakis. Except there'd have to be a dune sea filled with giant carnivorous sandworms somewhere around here, and, well, that's just crazy talk. I suppose I'll just call it something silly like Scorched Earth. Although it's not really Earth. But still, it has a nice ring to it. Here we are at last. I'm going to take a break for a few minutes while I make the last adjustments to the mechanism of the obelisk. Then I'm going to pick up some supplies I've stashed on the far shore and get ready to head back to home sweet home. The repairs are done, but this sandstorm has come up out of nowhere. We've got to leave now, but it's going to take a few minutes to activate the portal so that we can get... home. Well, that's funny. It almost seemed like the portal activated the moment we stepped on the disc. Perhaps fusing those circuits wasn't the best idea after all, but... oh well. No worries. The portal was stable and it got us home, and that's the important thing. For right now, my first order of business is to get my new friends down from here and back to Arboreus so I can make sure there are no residual effects from their first portal trip. Festus in particular here looks like he got a little scorched along the way. I can always come back and work on a more permanent fix later, once I've had time to study the technology a bit more. The fact that the portal activated as soon as we approached it is a bit concerning, but really, what's the worst that could happen? A thorny dragon or two might wander through, or perhaps an infestation of ravenous jerboas will pour through to defoliate my victory garden. Then again, perhaps I'd better take a look. Okay, you guys stay here. That Carnotaurus over there is named Clyde. He's one of mine, and he'll keep an eye on you until I return. I'll just take a peek from the ridge. Won't be but a moment. I'll bet it was just one of those overgrown kangaroos. Those things seem to have a knack for always being underfoot. I'll just take a quick peek with the spyglass, and then we'll be on our way. Wait, is that what I think it is? Yep, it's a wyvern. It's possible I've made a slight miscalculation. Thanks for watching. I hope you were entertained. If you liked the video, please remember to subscribe. And if you're already a subscriber, thank you. And I'll see you next time.